250K Bitcoin, 10K Ethereum. Everyone talks about it, but no one talks about the path. How do we get there? When do you get involved? Now, if you watch this video, I'm going to give you the what, the when, and the why 250K and 10K in ETH unfolds. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button so I can help you. First, we're going to talk about central analogy, the time signature. And you're like, well, what does that mean? You have to figure out what the underlying rhythm is, as Arthur Hayes calls it. When are they going to print? And when are they going to print to the point where it levitates asset prices? And I'm going to tell you all about it because I'm going to talk about the second part, which is the key market driver. In other words, what is really going to drive the pace of fiat expansion? In other words, printing. In other words, devaluing the dollar, etc. And then we're going to talk about market momentum. In other words, all these drivers that I'm talking about, they're not one-offs. They happen regularly, continuously. How does that exactly work? This comes from the work of Arthur Hayes, a major thought leader, and I am here to explain it to you in the simplest manner possible. Now, the first is, why would they expand fiat? America is copying China. We are doing state-sponsored capitalism. That means we go to an industry and say, produce this. And the industry says, well, I don't know if we can do it at that price. Then the government says, don't worry, we'll guarantee your pricing structure will get met. Matter of fact, we'll give you twice as much money as you normally get. Then the company goes, well, that's nice. I'd be happy to produce all that for you. But how do I do it? I got to get the money. And the government goes, no problem. We're going to go to the banks and tell them to lend you money. And we're going to tell the banks that we, as in the government, are going to guarantee the loans. Here's a classic example. And this goes into what is happening now and the strategy of the current administration. They want to get rare earth metals away from China. They want it produced here in America because China has got a huge chunk of the supply of these metals. So the administration goes to an American company and says, we'll give you a great price, we'll get you credit, and we want you to do it here. And we don't care if it's twice as much as what we can get from China. We want it done here. American jobs, American products, etc. Now, what is this really equivalent to? Well, if they're guaranteeing the loans and they're paying companies extra, it's printing money. The Chinese did this for years and had like 10% economic growth rate. But now they eventually got in trouble with that. But the US, and then back to timing, the US is just getting started. Now, of course, this is going to create some sort of inflationary pressure, right? Because if they've done it with rare earth metals, well, they're going to just carry on, right? Because we want everything made in America. So it's not just one deal. They're going to just continue to do this on and on and on. Now, you're also going to have inflation, money printing, and then you're going to have government sponsorship of stable coins and crypto expansion. In order to finance all this, the government's going to have to issue debt. Well, who's going to absorb the debt? Well, partially stablecoin projects, right? They get treasuries and then they create money. So you have the government creating money and you have stablecoin companies creating money. So all of a sudden, you have immediate catalysts. Again, immediate catalysts because the fiscal side, meaning Uncle Sugar, meaning Trump, wants American-made goods. They print. Congress prints because the deficit is $2 trillion. And that is happening right now. So if that's the case, you have this like stealth printing that's going on, which is what Arthur Hayes is trying to tell you. So if you have this stealth increase in the supply of fiat, that has to mean higher crypto prices. So the what is fiscal printing and the Chinese model of state-sponsored capitalism. The when is now. And the why is American-made. American-made cryptos, and soon it becomes an American-made bubble. An American-made bubble. And of course, what does that always translate into? Well, it translates into higher stocks in the past. It's translated into higher real estate. But what's the trade? It's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's DeFi. It's people wanting to get outside the system, and frankly, the banks wanting to get inside the system. Because if Arthur Hayes knows it, and he wrote an article about it, and I know it, and you know it, now you've got the tools to understand 250K Bitcoin. You know what to do on dips. You know not to be afraid if the market shakes you out or if the market breaks out, and you have to go with it. So this who, what, when, where, why will help you going forward understand 250K Bitcoin and 10K ETH.